Good morning, everyone. I am Mr. Ish. Welcome to the hard part of series and progressions. At the end of Calculus 1, this shows up, but some professors ignore it, and then you see it in Calculus 2. Either way, if you know it, you're better off. What is a power series? You have something which looks like this, n equals 0 up to infinity. Sometimes this value can change based on your function, but generally 0 to infinity. And this right here is a main item of your power series. Everything here is with regards to some sort of power involved, but you have two variables. Look, you have an n and you have an x. You have a constant showing up. That constant will alter based on your n value. Your variable will change based on the n value. If you were to expand this out by means of 0 up to infinity, here I'm only showing 0, 1 and 2 and 3. You see how things change. But when you look at something like this, it looks like very much a polynomial. And we will look at everything here in a basic framework, because this video over here will lay the framework for everything which will follow with regards to power series. When you're looking at a power series, you have to identify the coefficient and you have to identify the variable components. There are two components. Here's my coefficient component, here's my variable component. You have to identify them because each of these changes or affects your convergence and or divergence of your series. When you're looking at the sum of the series, what are you actually looking at? You're looking at everything in regards to a function which has become a polynomial. The only difference about this polynomial with regards to what you know of about polynomials from algebra and precalculus, this polynomial will have an infinite number of terms, or you can even use components. It'll have an infinite number of components. As you can see, this would be your first, second, third, fourth, but it'll go all the way up to infinity. And that right there would be a polynomial developing from a power series. But unlike other polynomials, this polynomials can have a variety of effects based on your coefficient and your variable components. What does that mean? Think about everything you've learned so far with regards to series and or progressions. How power series will differ from everything you studied so far, where previously everything was either all convergent, everything was either all divergent. Here for power series, and we can just use P as power series, can be both convergent and divergent based on your x values, or the interplay of the coefficient and the variable, or the interplay of the constant and the variable components. How your x values will differ will affect what you will say with regards to your analysis or your conclusion. Based on a given value, your series, power series, can be either convergent or it can be divergent. And that perhaps is the biggest learning curve for students. A power series in this right here, the most basic general form, can also take another form, and it would look something like this. And we'll identify it for you as this x minus a to the power of n. The only change between here and here is this x minus a. Here you have x. There's no minus a involved. This is a very common and general form of a power series, having this specific component. More to be said about this later on, but here we're looking at everything generally with regards to a framework. You know, if you were to expand this in terms of a series, initial terms, you'll have c0 x minus a to the power of 0, plus you'll have c1 x minus a to the power of 1, plus c2 x minus a to the power of 2, on and on. Then you can just say cn x minus a to the power of n, where n will of course approach infinity. Again, anything which looks like this can adopt both a convergence and or divergence based on this x value. You have to understand in this video what that means. How is it that if I am going to present you two questions, how can you say whether something is convergent or divergent based on the values x will assume? Because again, for power series, you can have both values of convergence and divergence based on those x values. That is our learning point in this video. There are two questions to examine in this video. First easy, second hard. Before we do anything, let's examine what this is in terms of a series. You should be able to decompose it down, so when you do your determination aspects for convergence and divergence, which are usually all that you know, the various tests, you can use alternating series, you can use ratio test, root test, all of that. Very commonly when you're doing power series, commonly use the ratio test, and I'll just put that right here. Ratio test is a very common test to employ with these. Imagine this, you know anything factorial, let's just say 5 factorial is always equal to 5 times 4 times 3 times 2 times 1. You're always decreasing, but you're multiplying everything until you get to 1. But what would n factorial look like? What would that look like here in regards to this type of series? You'd have something n, then you'd be multiplying by n minus 1, then you'd be multiplying by n minus 2 times n minus 3 all the way up to it was consumed. What about n plus 1 factorial? Because it would come in right here for this question when you do your limit analysis, because you're doing ratio test, you have to do a limit analysis. What would this look like? You know your very first term would be n plus 1. That's your first term. Then you multiply by the next item which is reduced, which would be n plus 1 minus 1. And that would be just n. Then you'd multiply by the next item which is reduced by 1. Remember, you're always reducing by 1 until you consume your item, until you hit that very last item which is always a 1. Here would be n plus 1 minus 1 minus 1. And that, you would have here an n minus 1. Here you'd have an n minus 2. Here you'd have an n minus 3. You see how everything is decreasing by 1 in terms of that factor, but everything here is a factorial. When you're looking at everything like this, all of this can boil down anytime you see power series to an item. What is that item? That item is always what I'm going to put for you, because when you see this, don't waste time trying to determine this. You just memorize it. You'll always have n plus 1 times n factorial, because this right here is equal to this right here, which is what I've shown you already right over here. Anytime you see this with regards to power series and you're employing the ratio test, because it will come in, this right here will boil down to that for your limit evaluation. We'll put that right here on the side, n plus 1 times n factorial. Keep that in mind. It will be a time saver for you. You can consider that a brief digression. When we're looking at ratio test, you're doing limit as n approaches infinity. You have a n plus 1 divided by a n. You want to look at everything here by means of absolute value. We have a power series. We have everything will open up into a polynomial. I won't open it up, but you see you have a variable component and you have constant components. You're looking at everything like this. Push the 2 outside for right now and ignore it. Now you really have this. You want to do a determination of this series with regards to convergence or divergence, but I'm telling you, because it's a power series, you can have both answers based on what values the x assumes. We have to determine those x values. Ratio test. A n plus 1 divided by a n. What's your n plus 1 term? At the very beginning, I'm pushing out the 2. This 2 will come out at the very end. This 2 corresponds to that 2. Push it out and deal with it later on. A n plus 1 term is what you have here. N plus 1 factorial times x to the power of n plus 1 divided by a n, which is this. This is my a n term. N to the factorial times x to the power of n. What have I told you? Anytime you see n plus 1 factorial, this is what it breaks down, and you remember that. I have that. Let's open it up. N plus 1 factorial is equal to n factorial times n plus 1. That's exactly what I have. N plus 1 times n factorial times x to the power of n and x to the power of 1. Separate this into its base components. Each of those components, when they multiply, they give you that. You have n factorial and x to the n. Cancel this out with that, this out with that. You'll have limit as n approaches infinity with this 2 sitting out. You have n plus 1 times absolute value of x. You see this x to the 1 is just an x. I'm bringing it here as an absolute value of x. What do I know here with regards to the limit? I'm going to push out to absolute value x, limit as n approaches infinity. I'm just looking at n plus 1. When I'm looking at this with means of infinity, this in terms of this limit evaluation will always give me an infinity. Combining these two terms, I'm saying 2 times absolute value of x and infinity is going to give me infinity. What does this tell you? For all values of x. For all values of x, this series is always divergent except for one value. What do you think that one value is? How can we zero this out? If x were equal to 0, you would eliminate this infinity and then you would see convergence. Your answer to this question would be, for all values of x, you'll always have divergence for all values except when x is equal to 0. Then you will have convergence. And you can present this as your answer. This series is always divergent unless your x value is equal to 0, in which case you have convergence. And that would be the only case for this series having and experiencing convergence. Let's look at one more question, which will be obviously more difficult than this, and then we'll wrap the video with that. Look right here, x minus 5 to the power of n divided by 2n. Here I'm looking from 1, not 0, because I don't want to zero out the denominator with a value of 0. I have to look from 1 onwards. I have to identify this series as being convergent and or divergent. It's probably both based on your x value. We have a power series because we have a variable component. We also have a coefficient component here involved. Coefficients, constants, you can use those interchangeably, but the preferred word here is coefficient. Use a ratio test. You want to evaluate everything here by means of a limit. For the ratio test, limit as n approaches infinity. We're looking at the a n plus 1 term divided by a n. Always in absolute value these terms. What is your a n plus 1 term in all instances? It would be x minus 5 to the power of n plus 1 divided by 2 times n plus 1. That represents my numerator expression. What's my denominator expression? Look at everything here with regards to the an, which is exactly what you have, x minus 5 to the power of n divided by 2n. Open this up right over here. You won't see this come into this equation because there's no factorial involved, but this is something you should keep in your back of your mind because these type of questions involve a lot of factorials. Anyhow, limit as n approaches infinity. I'm opening this up. I have x minus 5 to the power of n times x minus 5 to the power of 1 divided by 2n plus 2 all over x minus 5 to the power of n divided by 2n. I'll flip this around. This will equal to what? X minus 5 to the power of n times x minus 5 divided by 2n plus 2 times 2n divided by x minus 5 to the power of n. This cancels out with that. What am I left with? Limit as n approaches infinity. I have x minus 5, I'm bringing now the absolute value, 2n divided by 2n plus 2. You've seen how everything has come along. It's no different than what you already know by means of the ratio test. Everything is nothing new over here. I'll erase this and we'll continue from here. Remember, with power series, not only are we determining convergence and divergence, we're determining the values for x where those situations exist. X minus 5 pushed outside the limit. Limit as n approaches infinity. You're looking at basically 2n divided by 2n plus 2. You know, this right here is very easy to evaluate. Do your horizontal asymptote style of determination or your limit. Divide everything here by 2n, or just divide everything by n. In the numerator and the denominator, you'll have 2 over 2 plus 2 over n. Limit as n approaches infinity, this zeroes out, you end up seeing 1. This 1 multiplies with this. You end up seeing as a result of this entire output from the limit as just being x minus 5. X minus 5 will clue you in as to what values of x will be giving you the convergence and or divergence. You know, with the ratio test, when the limit value is less than 1, you have convergence. With the ratio test, when limit value is equal to 1, you have inconclusive nature of result. When limit value is greater than 1, you have divergence. Bring that into play. X minus 5 in terms of absolute value, focusing in on this relationship. If it were less than 1, I would have convergence. But what are these values? Do your absolute value algebra determination. You have x minus 5 is less than 1 and you have x minus 5 is greater than minus 1. You solve in each of these cases these inequalities. X is less than 6, x is greater than 4. You're seeing a relationship such as this. X should be less than 6, but x should be less than 4. If x were somewhere between 6 and 4, you would see convergence if you were to plug that in over here. But I want to do something a bit more in terms of homing down on these inequalities. Maybe what would happen if I were to put as x equals 4 and 6 in this place of series, how would everything play out? I need space to show you that, and I'll create that space right over here. What would happen if x were equal to 4? What would happen if x were equal to 6? It will help us improve this inequality we have down here, because this inequality will represent our answer with regards to this series. If x were equal to be 4, you would have n equals 1, infinity, 4 minus 5, you would have a minus 1 to the power of n divided by 2n. If x, this is my when x is equal to 4. What about when x is equal to 6? You put 6 in place of x. 6 minus 5 is 1 to the power of n divided by 2n. 1 to the power of n is no different than just you saying 1 over 2n, because 1 to the power of any number is always 1. When x is equal to 6, you have 1 over 2n. When x is equal to 4, you have this. This right here will obviously be a divergent series, because think about it, when you do the integral test over here, 1 over 2n from 1 up to infinity dn, this will give you a divergent outcome, and you know you'll have 1 over 2 natural log n from infinity to 1, which is divergence. When we know that x is equal to 6, we have a divergence, so our inequality over here stays as this. X must always be less than 6, it cannot equal to 6. When if x were equal to 4, we have a alternating series develop. You know, this alternating series would look something like, well, starting from 1, you'd have a minus 1 over 2 plus 1 over 4 minus 1 over 6 plus 1 over 8 minus 1 over 10 onwards. This right here, by means of your alternating series test, each value, succeeding value less than the preceding value, series tending towards 0 would give you a convergence. And therefore this inequality will become that. For this specific series over here, which is a power series having variable and coefficient components, this is the parameters under which for the x values you will have convergence. If x were less than 6 but it's greater than or equal to 4, you'll have convergence. But in any other value for x, you'll have divergence. X being larger than 6, x being less than 4, you will have divergence. And that right there brings us to the end of this question. You can see how power series are more involved because each series can adopt both convergence and or divergence based on your variable component and the values that it adopts. Keep that in mind for this video. Thank you for watching. Have a good day.